well, again, a lot of my esteem was based on the grades I got in school. So if I didn't do well in school and I didn't get good grades and I was called average or something, that really affected my day. In fact, I had a nervous breakdown when I was 19 because I got a C. This woman, I took English critical writing in English or something, and this woman just refused to give me A's on my papers, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this woman, And, I still have those papers, and in the end, she was actually probably right about some of her points, but I was not. Doesn't mean I was wrong. And I took it to the English staff, to the English department, and got the grade changed. Because I felt I deserved better than a C, and I got it. So I fought for my right. But as a result of that unfortunate experience, and also the high standard I placed on grades, I was placed on Prozac for having a nervous breakdown over this fucking English teacher, at 19. And unfortunately, due to that one incident of angst over getting C's in English, leading to the prescription of Prozac, given to help me with that, led to my sex drive, getting all fucked up and possibly my hormones getting fucked up for life, Not that I'm blaming everything on that one thing, but seriously, that was, anyway, back to the Sophie's Choice, yes. So that a writer, especially a man who could bring a woman to tears, by writing about a woman character. You cannot believe that this is a man who possibly could have written this book. I say this, like when I read the book, I'm like, how could this man possibly fucking understand a woman like that well? Was he once a woman? Did he have a sex change? I mean, that's what I would be asking, I mean, that's my standard for greatness in terms of, because some guys, honestly, don't fucking understand women from their dicks or from an ass in the ground. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Most guys don't get women, but this writer did, and is what my thesis is, or my points. And so back to my gift, as Paul speaks of the spiritual gifts that were given, and who's given what, and the people are fighting over the gifts, and please, don't be jealous of my gift, or whatever you think my gift is. It's certainly not the same as your gift, because obviously you don't understand half the time what the fuck I'm talking about, and I don't understand what the fuck you're not talking about, and what your gift possibly has not emerged, in my opinion, humbly. And when I say you, I'm not I'm not going to name names, but moving on. But some would say that my gift is quite a curse, for instance. Some would make that argument, and I could see that I could counter that argument, if with precision and research, and turn what you call a curse into a blessing. But that does not mean that it's going to lead me to a jackpot. Because to me, value is not measured by, and again, money is is an object. It's a thing. It's a noun. It's a thing. It's not a person. It's not alive. It was once a tree. A tree was once alive, but once you cut it down and you turn it into paper, it's no longer living. Now, you take that piece of paper and you actually write something original on that paper, you've done a favor to that paper. You've honored that paper. That paper is happy that it died. It rather, I would rather be the paper that somebody wrote, a fucking good night note on, or a love note on, even if it's a drunk idiot, than be have George Washington's picture on it, and be one of a trillion floating around out there. But what that one drunk idiot wrote on that one piece of paper, to me, has much more value. It has the value of a fucking rare fucking gem. That thing is priceless. To me, I would pay if I had it, whatever amount for that drunk ass piece of paper. So anyway, you've honored that paper that died for you. So even the tree, brought joy, to that person who read the note that, read the writing that was on that tree, on that paper, you know? So, in life, like, it's, people often think that I'm into trash because, I go through garbage cans, and I look on the ground all the time because I often find things, you know, on the ground that other people miss, very rarely money, though. It's kind of strange. But, I'm not complaining because honestly, that's really not what I'm into, as I just said, However, I also don't enjoy having it be stolen from me. So don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? Like some people think I'm a fucking idiot, Like, oh yeah, bring it on, Like bring all your thieves, one thief came in and, yeah, bring your, the whole set in next time and take take the rest. No. That's not where I was going with it, Don't come and scope it out, scope the place out, and then be like, yeah, all right, whatever. Now I know where all the valuables are. Well, no, fucker, you don't, because I stuck them up my ass, Anyway, and I really didn't, but basically, I'll burn my valuables before I let you have at them. You know what I mean? Like fucking set fire to them. Literally, I will. So I think that's where my fantasy or dream of, setting fire to a $1 trillion worth of paper money one day and having it go viral on YouTube would be like my dream come true, Like, yeah, can you imagine, man? Like I could fucking single-handedly, maybe not me, let's say somebody else. I mean, whoever, if someone else shares the same dream, I wish you all the best, But yeah, seriously, if you could get a hold of that much of money, and win it, and, gather it up, and fucking set fire to it, I'd be like cheering you on, dude, like fucking A, man, yeah, fuck, you'd fucking bring down the whole monetary system, and then, and then I would go and like be like, you're not cutting this tree down to make more money, you motherfucker, that's my tree, so, like, you're already cut enough trees down, you fucking assholes, so like no more trees are gonna die for this. You have to go through me, before you get to that tree. This one of the few trees left, Anyway, so like, these are, this is my thing. And there are some trees that are just really, really special. They really are, like, I'm not saying that, the typical whatever palm tree. I personally, and I know I'm in California and I should love palm trees, but I don't, okay? I'm not a palm tree person. Really not into palm trees, okay? I'm sorry. Whatever offense if you're a palm tree lover or a palm tree, I don't mean any offense, and whatever, you have your own beauty, and most people like you, but like I'm into like the unusual, weird looking tree, the one that everyone kind of like gawks at and says like, what is that ugly ass thing, or like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, that's the one that I'm gonna like notice, because like I'm just a weirdo, I always was. Or for instance, like I'm going to be attracted to like the weird fucking like, person, probably most unattractive person in the room is going to be the one I'm going to be attracted to. Not because I want to be, because I am. I just can't help it. Because I like I like kind of unusual looking people, But that's not a guarantee. So don't go and like think that, I'm going to go ahead and disfigure myself, and like this woman will definitely love me now that I'm all disfigured and like a freak show. No, that's not what I mean. Okay? So, too many people think that they can manipulate someone like me or someone who's not like me. Whatever, manipulate. Well, motherfuckers, I'll let you think that you're manipulating me, for a little while. But you're not. Because me and God are on, very good terms. In fact, I shouldn't have even used the word, because that's how much respect I have for Yah, Yeah. So when you come up and you say, oh, yes, I can see you, I can make you a star, baby, you'll be big. Well, fucker, I don't want to be big. You know what my name means in Latin, you motherfucker? It means, well, look it up. I'm not going to give you all the answers anymore. Because you know what? You cheated enough on your tests and on your papers, you know? Do some research of your own from now on, you know, instead of copying off my fucking homework. But anyway, no. In other words, you know, if you look up my name in Latin, I don't know if you know what my name is, but if you remember, you will. And you'll look it up and you'll find out that, you'll just find out. So no, I'd like to be a bit player. If you're, you know, if you're familiar with the movies, you know what that term, what a bit player is. You know, it's someone who just like has like one moment in a movie, but like that movie would not be the same without that one, like half a minute that person was on, you know, or like whatever. It's just like, or like, you know, like when a director will make like that little appearance in the movies, you know, that in his movie like Alfred Hitchcock used to, or like Stan Lee in the Marvel movies, you know. Me and my son would always wait for the Stan Lee moment, you know, like where's Stan Lee, you know. You know, like not that he's a great actor or whatever, but you know, it's just kind of that kind of cute thing, you know. But on the other hand, on the same, you know, token, I'm also a very big fan of like someone like Tom Hanks, you know, who isn't a bit part player. You know, he has significant time in movies, but he deserves that, you know, in my opinion. Again, and I think in my opinion, you can't really argue with this one. I'd like to see you make a case that Tom Hanks does not deserve the majority of the time in the movie. You know what I mean? Like if the movie is like, let's say 2 hours long and he's in every shot, almost every shot, maybe, you know, an hour and a half of it features him in some scene or whatever. He deserves it, in other words, because he's true to the character. He understands the character. He portrays the character honestly, to the best of his ability and knowledge. He cares about the character, and because it moved me, you know? And that not everything moves me. I spot a phony and a fake in a heartbeat, you know? But I don't always point it out or tell them, hey, you fucking phony freak, you know, or like, you know, you're a fake. Like, I'm polite that way, unfortunately, you know? Like, I was raised with manners, you know? In fact, no, I wasn't. I was raised with a very rude mother, but I developed manners as a result, if you must know. That's the truth. You know? So, yeah, my son is actually a very polite and well-mannered child, so I learned from him as well. He learned from me, but I like to give him more credit than I give myself, to be honest with you, because I know what kind of spoiled brats some people are forced to deal with, and, you know, I was very lucky not to have a spoiled brat. In fact, I was called a spoiled brat myself, so I know, like, I would have not liked to raise myself if, you know, if I didn't know who I was, of course, you know. I wouldn't have really liked me as a kid, because I didn't know who I was. Now I know who I am, and I would have loved me as a kid. In fact, I would have been my favorite kid. But, hey, you can't be your own parent, you know. That's kind of weird, but as a woman, I cannot literally be my own parent. One man got to be that, but anyway. As you can tell, I'm also you know, one of his. And, you know, I have very strong thoughts and about what is called religion and Christianity. And that word shouldn't even exist, I'm sorry. But if I've offended anyone, but a true one understands why I said that. It's caused too much strife and too much argument and shame, and it's got to stop. It's got to end, okay? You know, and it should have ended. But, you know, he's gracious and patient enough, and Daniel's 70th week hasn't run its course, but it's getting close to that. You know what I mean? So, I along with the fellows, you know, in these last days, you know, I stand with those fellas, you know, and gals. You know, there aren't that many of us left. And I know most of us are in hiding right now because we're scared. We've lost too much. We've already had too much taken from us. And we don't know who to trust, you know, when your own family member is the one who betrays you, you know. You're like, okay, well, geez Louise. But you know what? if that family member betrayed you, you have to understand also the word meanings, Unfortunately, I have an education, and I'm able to so easily forgive someone even before, like, they know what they did, um, or they don't even realize what they've done when if I thank them, and they're like, what the fuck is this person thanking me for? I just, like, fucking, uh, did something really bad, let's say, for instance, and instead of, like, slapping me across the face, that person came and gave me a hug, um, I mean, things like that, but sometimes those moments are, like, just once, and they don't really happen ever again, like, and you should kind of sort of die after that you do that, you know what I mean, like, because you really can't go on. um, but anyway, I'm a bit of a drama queen, uh, but not very often anymore, because, like, people fake it too much, and I don't really like fake, like I told you. So, um, one of my favorite musicians was Syd Barrett, and he was a schizophrenic, which is what I was. I hope I am. I think I am. Some people think I'm bipolar, and I really dislike that term, bipolar. I would rather have manic depressive, but honestly, schizophrenia would be my top pick. Um, it's a beautiful mind. And where was I? Oh yeah, Syd Barrett. So, I personally have never taken acid, as far as I know, unless it was slipped into something and I'm unaware, and I, have been using it without knowing. Because as you know, the government does put all kinds of shit in the water, and who knows what you're eating half the time. Um, how do you know that's a chicken you're eating? It looks and tastes like a chicken, but what do you know about chicken? How much research have you done about poultry? Like, we all have our subject areas, that we're familiar with, and you know, I can't say that culinary, arts is mine. So I don't know what I'm eating. I don't know what I'm drinking. I'm not a bartender. Anyway, I digress. My point was this. What was my point? See, this is what happens sometimes. Um, the okay, where was I? Chicken. We were talking about poultry. Oh no, what we're eating. Bipolar, mental disorders, schizophrenia. Um, 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 oh, Syd Barrett. Yes. Oh, okay. So here's the deal. Pink Floyd is like one of my favorite bands, and I respect and admire Roger Waters very much, as well as the rest of the band. And no offense to David Gilmour, I think he's a great guitar player, by the way. And Roger's lyrics are really very powerful, and some people are very offended by it, and I'm not. Now, Syd was the type of guy that was just not a showman, and everybody loves the showman, like they like the and who doesn't? I mean, how can you not love someone like David Lee Roth? I mean, he's just a silly fool. He's like a jerky boy, but that, most likely he's not a married man, like he's not gonna, he's a gigolo, and he admits it, like, it's cool. I can be pals with a guy like that, but I'm not gonna, like, commit to him, because I'll fall in love with him, and then he'll break my fucking heart, like in a heartbeat, and then I'll have to be a jerky boy with him, but you can't really be friends with someone you still love, and if they don't feel that way about you, because you're gonna, like, feel like an idiot, like that nerdy girl who, like, still likes the popular dude who's, like, a dork. Actually he's not really popular, but anyway, like, that's what I mean. So, like, I'd be pals with David Lee Roth, but, like, I wouldn't, he wouldn't want to marry me, because he's not a marrying man, like I said, so I'd like us to be friends, but, like, unfortunately, he'd probably hit on me, and then it'd be, we'd have to have to have a discussion about it, and, so often that doesn't go too well, because they take it as rejection, and I'm like, look, man, I'm really not a heterosexual, but neither am I a homosexual, but I'm an asexual, and then they're like, huh, whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm a what's it called, fucking A, eunuch. I'm a eunuch, man. Okay, do you get it? I'm a eunuch. I don't have a genital. Okay, or I do, but it's just for, like, urinary purposes. Okay, and, like, they don't want to, like, hang out anymore after that. It's like, fuck you then. So, a lot of times I like to hang out with little kids, like babies mostly, because, like, they don't fucking care about, my genitals, really. You know, and they're kind of cool. And, you know, they're close to the father, you know, just like I was, you know? So, like, they remember, and we can laugh, and, you know, it's so cute, you know? Like, I really miss that baby, you know? We didn't have much time together, but, like, you know, the one in Texas, you know? What was his name? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is this, you know? We don't get to pick our names. We're named by our parents, who most of the time, you know, well, I don't want to make a generalization, because I haven't interviewed people about this, actually. I rarely even ask people things about themselves. I mostly talk about myself. I'm very self-centered, and very, very full of myself. So there. Although, in Latin, my name actually means I'm humble. And I am humble. Anyway, where was I? Names, yeah. So, like, you know, imagine being given a name like Jesus, you know? Like, for fuck's sake, man, what the fuck were you thinking naming your kid Jesus, you know? What, you know? Do you understand what kind of pressure you're putting that kid in? Like, how much they're gonna make fun of him? And, like, you know, whatever? Like, dumbass. So I'd be like, Mom, Dad, you fucking idiots, I'm changing my name, you fuckers, you know? And I wouldn't have to be, like, legally adult to do it. I'd be like a 3-year-old telling them, you both are assholes, you know, for giving me that name, and I'm changing it. So from now on, they're going to call me this, and that's that, you know, and you're going to call me this as well. And if you try to call me by the name that you gave me, I will ignore you. I will not respond. So there. So you can have a fit, you know, throw a little bit of a hissy fit, you know, if you don't like your name. I'm very big on freedom, the right to choose, you know, and that includes the name. Having the right to, you know, choose your name is very important to me. And sometimes people just, you know, get lucky, you know, like, or just it fits, you know. Their name is like, actually, there we go. That's my new pet. Their name is actually very appropriate to their look, or their, you know, I love words. I love dictionaries. I love word meanings and analyzing, like, where did that name first come from, and why is that name, you know, what does that name mean in another language, like, you know, it's translated into this or pronounced this way, you know, and there's a history. And the only things I care about, the only story I fucking care about is the, you know, this book right here. Oh, you can't see it. There, okay? I'm not going to show it to you again. I might read from it. But, like, even that, you know, like, look at all the translations. You know, as John says, the Baptist, that is, or whatever, you know, the old one, he calls him, he says it, that, you know, the enemy crept in during the translation, you know, like, changing words around. And, like, as education started to fall, and people, you know, teachers' standards fell, and you're not paying teachers, you know, you're paying a teacher $30,000, and you expect to, you know, that one person who's, like, has got that much intelligence to actually fucking work for peanuts, while you pay like a dumbass, you know, bimbo, you know, like, billions. Hello, come on. And you expect that teacher to stay employed, you know, stay at that job, and not fucking be like, fuck you all, I'm out of here. You know, that's my story. I wasn't a teacher, but I was kind of close to that. And also, I was a lot better paid than teachers are. So, but I'm actually making a case for the teacher, and I'm saying that they should get better paid. And you get what you pay for. You know, you didn't want to pay the teachers, so you got shitty teachers who didn't know how to teach your kids what the meaning of gentleman is. So they didn't learn. Okay? And so you don't blame me, because if I was there, I would have straightened it out. But you didn't let me in. You closed the door on me. You know? And now you want my help? Well, ask for it. I'll help you. But you got to come clean, you know, and admit that, you know, when I was there and I could have been of assistance, you fucking slammed the door in my face. Or you didn't even open the door. You know? And I know you need me now, or people like me, you know, and I'd be happy to do it. But have the respect and courtesy to say, you know what, man, you know, miss, I was wrong, you know, I'm sorry for misjudging you. I'll be like, you know what, dude, no worries, you know, we all slip up. You know, I thought you were an asshole too, you know, most of the time. And now you've, you know, really, you know, you've surprised me, you know, like, thank you. So, you know, I mean, people just really need to, you know, be a little more humbled and be like, look, you know, I'm sorry for, like, calling you that, or thinking that about you. But like and then I'll, sit down and, if you need to cry, cry, like tell me why was there some other woman who like, mistreated you and like, you thought that I was like that too? Because like, at this point I'm more of a guy than a girl. To be honest, being a eunuch is like a little slightly more masculine feeling to me. So, I'm not so much as, I'm not one of those girly girls anymore, So like you can talk to me like I'm your, brother, like, take a seat, But like very rarely do guys like, are able to do that. And some of them who do are like, and even the gay guys are like, few and far between these days, So honestly, like, unless they meet another eunuch, it's like pretty much like I talk to myself a lot. Most of the time I talk to the ghosts are always around, which is cool, but they're not really permitted to talk that much, or really make too much of a nuisance of themselves. So, I respect that. And, the closest, I got to love in the recent past was, with someone who was a Levite, who was not permitted that, so like, but I really miss that dude, and he's in jail now because he like got caught probably shoplifting like a Red Bull or something, which is bullshit, Anyway. So like, like, in other words, like, like I really like people who, aren't, I'd rather prefer a guy who's like kind of on the stupid side, but like innocently stupid, like he's not like, he's not stupid like purpose. Some people like are really actually very, very fucking crafty, and like, this is a heads up to all y'all out there, both genders. Don't be taken in by smooth operators, slick willies, or, no offense to anyone named Willie per se, but you know what I mean? Like, someone who's like smooth with the lines, like, hey baby, want to come get some of this? Oh yeah, I'll come get some of that. And, whatever, like, play the fucker right back, play him, but like at the time, for a lot of young women, who didn't realize they were getting played, or like that, as CB Nicks aptly says, the player only loves you when he's playing, when he's not playing, he doesn't love you. You're no use to him. He's like, okay, get out now, like, that's called, being basically a whore, so you're not even getting paid for it. So like, what the fuck are you, I mean, it's demeaning, to either gender, and if I'm guilty of that with a man, and I've hurt, so, but I can't see myself ever, really purposefully having done that, to a dumb man, I wouldn't do that to my favorite retard, in the world. So, I miss that guy, And he's not really a retard, like you'd be surprised. Sometimes you really misjudge people. You call someone a retard or you call them stupid. And it turns out that they're not stupid. They're, in other words, my thoughts are not your thoughts. I'm quoting now, Yah, is like, when Jesus tells Jude, he's like, you're thinking the way man thinks, not as God thinks. And Jude is like the most intelligent, he's the fucking intellectual, the only one besides Jesus, of course, who hasn't, went to school. I mean, he knows languages. He's, went to university. He's not a blue collar fisherman, and so I can relate to him. That's why he's my favorite, and I really admire him, and I understand him.
No, you're not going to eat it, honey.
So like I'm being given lunch, but like I also don't want to stop talking because I'm onto something. Anyway, so like when he says you're thinking as man thinks, not as God thinks, he's right, because God, the way that God, and then you would think for a moment, like after what results and what transpires, like that God must be I'm sorry to say this, but like, one may even think like very bad thoughts about, and it's okay. I've yelled at him. I've screamed in a fucking car and like banged my head and screamed at the top of my lungs in the car, one day after I was parked at a certain place, about like why, why would you take, do this, I'm not feeling that anger right now, so I can't duplicate that scene. And see, coming back to like Syd Barrett, couldn't see himself going out, like doing a concert every night and singing that song every night, duplicating something that only really is a unique once in a lifetime experience. I mean, how many times are you going to ask someone to marry you? You can't do it the same way every time. I don't know who can, like a robot can or a machine can, but they're programmed to. A human being is not like that. You can't like hit play on that person's body and that, oh yeah, okay, restart. I mean, I can pretend to be that, but why would you want to be with somebody that phony? You would never know when they were being real and when they weren't. Listen, man, I smoke, okay? I do. And someone who can accept that about me and not think that, oh, I hate this person for being a smoker. Secondhand smoke. That's all bullshit, man. Okay? I'm not out here to get you into what I'm into. You eat your food, I'll eat my food, You want to try mine? Fine. I'm not going to but I'm not going to be a pusher, because that's just not cool. But if it's out there and you want to taste it, I can tell you. And, if you want to ask me questions about it, I will tell you my experience with that food or that drug or that substance or that person, But I will not make things up. I will not lie, But I will tell you what, to the best of my knowledge, is my truth with that, whether it be a person, place, thing, or animal, But see, the difference is that with a person, you're dealing with a person who, if you don't understand what it means to be born again, you don't understand what it means to die to self. And have people still look at you like you were someone that is not really who you are anymore. And to hold you to a standard that they held you to 13 years ago or something, and refuse to fucking believe. And you feel like you're just going to you're like, fuck this, man. I'm not going to you don't want to spend another second, trying to prove this person anything to this person anymore. Because you weren't trying to do that in the first place. You just naturally did something that surprised them or shocked them, right? And instead of like them coming and actually sitting down and talking to you and saying, hey, like what caused this change or whatever, they took they got defensive, or like they chose to attack because they thought you were about to attack them, and when in fact that wasn't even on your mind, like, you know what I mean? So I've had to like build, as Ephesians 6, as Paul says in Ephesians 6, the armor of God, the helmet of salvation, in fact, I'll go there now and read about it, because I remember a man named Jonathan who told me, and I thank Jonathan for this, about Ephesians 6, because at that time I was just I hadn't even read the Bible, but I had been moved, my experience had occurred already, and I naturally was so interested in meeting others and fellowshipping and talking about and reading together. So I did not know what spiritual warfare was 3 years ago as I do now. So here's Ephesians 6:10. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle, okay, here we go. This is the part I want to emphasize. This is Paul writing. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, and it will, but I just added that, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. Stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. And pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. Pray also for me, that whenever I open my mouth, words may be given me so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains. Pray that I may declare it fearlessly as I should. It's very moving to me. I don't know if it is to anyone else, but it is to me. I mean, so tempting, you want to boast because you apparently what you thought everyone just knows, you didn't know, and what all of a sudden they don't know. It's like the role reversal, and I just love righteous anger. I love righteous standing up for rights, when everyone else in the room is like making fun of that person, or I love the hero, even if it's an act. But you know what, even if everyone else was acting and putting on a show, and the one person who didn't realize it was a show or was not real, that person who stood up for the person who was being picked on, that doesn't detract from that person's readiness to stand up for the victim, and I admire that, and that's what it takes to be a saint. But I believe that to be a saint, you sort of have to be a martyr. Don't have to be, but it's pretty much, in 99% of cases, that's what it takes. And so, anyway, you can't be born again if you don't die. I mean, and as somebody once said, it's just like a sting. It takes a second, but the cases of that I empathize with really are the ones who are going through a very, very difficult time, and it's it's taking a toll on them, and it's taking a toll on the people who care about them, and there are ways to alleviate that person, mostly alleviate the pain of the people who love that person, because that person can't really do it on their own, and it's so hard because, when only 30% of people, let's say, can see you, or you're only visible to some people and you're not to others, that means, you understand that you're a light in a dark world, and it's like, oh my God, like, you switch role, it's a reversal of sorts, and you have to somehow bridge and bring it to, we have to achieve a dusk or a merger, that was done for us for the most part. All we have to do is, like, say thank you, and believe it. As the late Dr. Murray used to say, even a child can get it, when he would talk about, do the Bible verse by verse, I mean, really, they do get it. They get it far more than we do, I mean, when babies, that's why I'm so close to babies. I mean, I just want to, I'd be like the best like baby caretaker, baby hugger, you know? There's a lot of women, unfortunately, and I had, I ranted about this last night, but I didn't record it, so it's not on film, but I was talking about the importance of, not missing out on moments with the baby, with the little ones, because you won't get them back, once they grow up, and the world gets to them, that corruption, it's, let them go to the Lord before that happens, You're, but, enjoy the moments that you have before they get, the Lord will swoop them up, and it'll happen so fast, So I'm just, I'm an older woman, I'm not a young spring chicken, I've had a long life, So, please listen to me, young ladies, Don't try to be so cool. Don't
Should
learn
I
from
eat it?
me. No, it's mine. Go away. Learn from me, Like, if a man is only gonna love you when you have like your makeup on and like, whatever, then that's not the one for you. Come on, be a little smarter, Look, my entire life, that woman Joyce Meyer, she's really cool. Like, she was molested and raped and beaten up, and you know, there are women who are, come on, you know what I'm talking about, right? Now, that woman, that entire life of suffering, basically, is here to tell you, young women, you know, young ladies, to behave like ladies, and choose wisely. I mean, not just wisely, but really, if a man isn't willing to wait for you for the marriage night, and you won't have sex with him on the first or second or third or fourth, whatever fucking date it is, and he's like, oh, well, I took you to dinner. Fuck your dinner. Shove it up your ass, you motherfucker. That's what you tell him. That's a lady. You know? You want to go to bed with me? Yeah? Well, you got to earn that right. You know? Don't sell yourself short, ladies. Okay? Because take it from the woman who did. And didn't mean to, but did. But in the end, it worked out, kind of. It was like, it was all worth it for the boy, Let's hear it for the boy. And that's what I'm telling you, Learn from the ones who've suffered and gone through hell, basically. And it's like, you look at them and you're like, oh my God, God must really hate that person. On the contrary. I don't know, I can't I don't know exact Bible and verse. I haven't memorized the book. However, I know that there's something in there about like God puts his favorites through the worst of it. You know what I mean? The worst of it. Get it? You know what I mean? So in other words, it's like, his favorite is really the one who suffers the most. And he puts that on his favorite. So get that. So if you've had an easy life, and you have no idea what I'm even talking about, and you've already tuned out, bye. Like, you may think you're all lucky and happy, but you have no part in what comes after. And I guess you don't care, because you really didn't love anyone that much. You must not have, if you don't know what it means to never have loved. Yeah. So anyway, back to the whole sex thing. Really, that's what a woman, because that's the currency that's placed on people, and women especially, being looked upon as what they can offer a man, and if they can't cook, or if they can't clean, or they're not very good at those tasks, let's say, what are they to offer the man? Well, sex most of the time is what it is. So don't give that up too easily. Don't give it up too soon. But if at the same time, if you know that guy's the one, yeah, good question. How can you tell? Did you know when you first? I knew something. Yeah, I did. But see, what I felt and what he felt may have been different. You know, it takes time, and at the same time, it takes no time. sometimes you don't know who you fell in love with, who it was at the time. And later on you're like, oh, that was him? Oh my God. Where did he go? Because, like, I woke up next to, like, the other version of him or something like that one day. And it was never the same again. Or, not never, but he didn't look at me ever again that way, you know? So, yeah, ladies, you know, I don't know. I've never had a very long relationship. My longest relationship that was continual was basically 2 years, I think, if you want to count that. And I have to count that, you know. But there wasn't a lot of sex towards the end, in fact. I mean, in physical intimacy. Um, and sometimes that's okay, you know, because, like, really, you should be best friends, you know, and you do come to see that person as your brother or sister in Christ. But what if they aren't in Christ yet, or they were and they're out? I mean, you know, they're not really out. You know, they're, let's say, what's it called in sports? Timeout, you know, or like he's injured, you know, he has to heal. So we have a substitute player right now until he's well enough to take, you know, his position again. You know, so give someone, you know, also don't divorce the dude, you know, comes home drunk one night, you know, like give them a chance, okay? If you see that they're trying, you know, don't, you know, be like threaten divorce every 5 minutes, you know, because, like, believe me, I did that when I was younger, and don't make threats and ultimatums if you're not going to follow through on it, okay? I do that. I still sometimes find myself doing that, but I'm really not intentionally doing it. It's only like later on, or 2 days or 3 days later or something, or a day later, where I'll be like, oh man, you know, I put it out there, you know, put your paper where your mouth is, you know. You know what I mean? Like, eat your words, swallow your pride, open your eyes, you know. At heart, I think you can tell that I'm possibly secretly an idealist, and I am, you know, because I've seen things that, it's not that I'm not permitted to talk about it, it's that I have talked too much about some of the things I have seen with my third eye. Not everyone has that third eye, and so when you start to talk about those things, the people without the third eye, or the dormant third eye, or the lazy eye, or the no eyes, or, you know, some of them are gonna genuinely think you're nuts. Unfortunately, some of the other ones are gonna believe someone who tells them that you're nuts, you know. And for the most part, some psychologists really don't have I don't know, like, what they think, really, to be honest with you, because they pretty much just seem to be, they think a pill is the answer to everything, which you know, there are certain pills which are an answer. But I digress. I think you know what I'm getting at. You know, people always say, you know, judge for yourself. Well, you know, because I assign such I have a lot of respect for words, you know. So when you say judge for yourself, you really, you know, you don't say that to someone who doesn't have the experience or the background to really judge, you know. And nobody knows it all. There is a lot of wisdom to be gained from the elders, people who have lived a long life, or old souls in young bodies. Hear what they have to say. You know, you just may be surprised what you learn. Don't take for granted someone who's willing to share something extremely personal and confide in you, and, like, reveal to you, you know, something that you can possibly use against them one day, and then you turn around and you do that for whatever reason. You know, how can you expect that person to ever really trust you again? I mean, they can forgive you, yes. It's far easier to forgive someone than to be able to trust them again, though. Because one time, you know, yeah, okay, they did it, and they're sorry, and they but if it's a repeated pattern of, like, betrayal, and, you know, that forgiveness thing is, forever, but the over and over stabbing in the back, over and over and over by the same person, done from one to the same person over and over and over and over and over and over again. You gotta just put a kibosh on that, And if they're not willing to move to the next country, then you move, because you can't coexist. Nobody wants to hear that. I see the sticker coexist. I mean, it sounds really nice. It does. And I have friends who are more, and again, that's why I started off by saying, like, the word Christian there shouldn't have even been a word called that, or necessity for that, I'm the Dalai Lama is my friend, or, like, what I mean, like the Muslim, the Samaritan, he's the good Samaritan who actually came and helped me when my own brethren didn't, walked right past me, didn't even see me, because I didn't look the way that they were expecting, And this poor schmuck is the one who helped me, and, like, what, I'm supposed to, like, be his enemy now because, like, like, no. Come on, people, wake up. Stop judging on appearances and, like, if, who's dressed well and who has, the cross, the nicest cross around their neck. Fuck that, We've reached a point in history that really, you can't afford to be gullible and taken in, And you have to sometimes just swallow your pride and stand your ground, But know also when it's time to give up, Like, you've done what you can, and you really believe that, and you still do. But accept that you may not be the one to be still around to see it, You may be taken out of it the way, like, the moment before it happens, and be grateful for that, Because there is someone who had to live through that and see it. And I don't envy that person, They had to endure very, very terrible visions, and not just visions, but the real thing, Have some empathy, have some, compassion. Yes, they did a lot of bad things, and, and nobody has a bigger grudge against that than I do, believe me. But forgive him, because, I know what he's going through, and I know what he will go through. And it'll change him. Okay? Just like it changed you. You were an idiot once too, you said offhand things about someone. You hurt someone's feelings. You made someone cry by being insensitive, and but also be quick to forgive. Don't hold a grudge. It's going to tear away at you. It's going to eat at you. Believe me. It feels good to get revenge. It does. But not in the way that you think. If I destroy the father of my child, I'm destroying my child. And I love my child more than I hate his father, and, like, that was once I think it was an Israeli who said that about the Palestinian conflict, and until they learn to love, how was it? So it made so much sense to me, but it was to that effect, Basically about loving your enemy, and do good to those who curse you. Like, they don't know what they're doing. Some of them really don't, and they're not inherently evil, and they can change, and they will, and God will see to it. Just trust and believe that he will. And he's allowing this, because he knows you can take it, and he knows that whatever thing you did, that one moment changed somebody's life, and you fit in somewhere in the story, and just believe it, and then accept that the scene changes, and don't keep reliving or letting people put you in a box and keep you in one scene over and over again, and keep doing that to you, because it's killing you. They're killing you but they don't know what they do. So Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Some of them really didn't see or experience the wounds, what is called stigmata. And I can't prove it to you, but I do have it and I do feel it. Whether you believe me or not, I don't know. I hope in your life, maybe you'll meet one other one who's another stigmatic who will confirm that. And you'll believe that person. I don't care. Believe one of us, But it's real. There's no other way I could know these things, or Paul could have known these things, or Francis, and a few others, that's the only possible explanation, okay? So accept it and be grateful that you don't really understand when it means to bear the wounds. But you can't see it. They're not visible, but they're there. And that's my message. Thank you for listening.